Alright, let's get started. I'm gonna put the prediction up. We'll put that for, I think 15 minutes is good, but blue 4, op 4. We'll do 20. Alright. That's all said and done. This is going to be a very interesting AO. OFCRA, they always like to push the envelope in various ways here and there, and this is definitely going to be one of those. So first off, our player count is about 135. Let me go ahead and add that to the title. Player. And get that all set. Alright, going over the document here, this is where things are going to get interesting, but let me go over everything. So, following the devastating loss of 4 members of Team Spike and Barusk, this is a continuation. There's a previous mission, I want to say 2 months ago, where there was a Green 4 CIA team and they were completely wiped. But the CIA has tasked the remaining members of Team Spike with the objective of prolonging the conflict in the war-torn nation. The CIA aims to keep both primary factions, the army and the paramilitary forces, engaged and off balance. Recognizing the opportunity to further destabilize the region, the CIA has devised a multi-phase strategy to manipulate the ongoing conflict to its advantage. Having once been the hunted, Spike Team now emerges as the hunters in the shadows of Barusk's war-torn landscape. With their ranks diminished but their resolve unyielding, the surviving members of Team Spike have embraced their role as architects of chaos, orchestrating a deadly dance of manipulation deceit amidst the swirling maelstrom of conflict. Meanwhile, the army and the paramilitary forces remain locked in a brutal and relentless struggle for supremacy, each pursuing their own objectives with unwavering determination. Yet, amidst the despair and destruction, both factions remain steadfast in their commitment to their respective causes, their resolve unshaken by the machinations, that's it, of external actors. Oh, right. Let's go ahead and go over the objectives. So, Green 4's objectives are a secret in the document, but I will go over them in a moment. So, Blue 4 and Op 4 have just a bunch of simple objectives here. They have to capture Alkiza at 90 minutes, capture the leader inside. Oh, no, I get it. So, there's 3 different positions. Each position is worth 3 points, except the radio mass is worth 2 points. Whoever holds those positions, aka whoever has more people in the zone, by the end of the 90-minute mark have... Nope, I'm complete... Okay, alright. I'm sorry. Let me roll all that back. I just completely read everything, so now let me explain. So, at the 50-minute mark, OFCRA is a 90-minute round. The radio mast, which is worth 2 points, will be captured, and points will go to either side depending on whoever has a number advantage in the zone. So if Blue 4 have more people in here, they will get 2 points. If Op 4 have more people in the zone, they will gain 2 points, but that is cashed out at the 50-minute mark. Then you have a base objective, which is up here. This is cashed out at the 70-minute mark, and it's worth 3 points. So if Blue 4 or Op 4 have more people in this zone by the 70-minute mark, they will gain those 3 points. And then you've got Al-Qaeda, which is the Orkizia, Guizia, I don't know how to pronounce it. But whoever has more people in this zone, which I believe is a boxed-in zone, it's the middle section of the town, they will gain 3 points. And if either side have their leader in that zone, they get a bonus point as well. All these little yellow triangles, I think, represent spare vehicles for either side. But otherwise, both sides have an airfield and then a forward position to drive forces in. Now, let's go over Green 4's objectives. They are a secret, but you know me. I have my ways, and I've got someone who has sent me what they are going to be. Alright. So, I'm just going to read based off of what I was sent here. Hello. So tonight's mission has Green 4, which are the CIA with secret objectives. I have been lazy and not put these objectives anywhere for spectators/dead people, so here they are. All platoon leaders alive at 40 minutes, both marksmen killed at 70 minutes, both side leaders alive at 70 minutes, all platoon leaders killed at 80 minutes, both side leaders killed at 90 minutes. Equal number of red or blue alive at 90 minutes. Blue-red has... the blue 4 op 4 difference is 2 or less at 90 minutes. Blue 4 op 4 difference is 5 or less at 90 minutes. Blue 4 op 4 difference is 10 or less in 90 minutes. Each 1 point. So easy 2-ish points, platoon leaders alive at 40 minutes, side leaders alive at 70 minutes, 3 plausible points, marksmen killed at 70 minutes, platoon leaders killed at 80 minutes, side leaders killed at 90 minutes, 4 increasingly hard points, differences in players on Blue 4 and Op 4. The CIA has the ability to hack the radios and talk to any squad on either side, and can see the location of all squads on their map/GPS. Not sure if them talking to players to death will make much of a difference in great streaming content. They will have to get their hands dirty at some point. They also have extra hidden locked vehicles to resupply. And they gave me a cool little picture of the radio hack, which basically gives them a custom interface to then interact with any squads at radio. And then the satellite feed is just a bunch of markers to keep track of on the map. And I believe this is coming from the mission dev Wombat. Nonetheless, it's rare we see a green 4 involvement in a faction like this, but here we are. So, I will quickly go ahead and look over everything. We're going to start with Blue 4, then Op 4, then Green 4. Blue 4, the the helicopter element, it is an Mi-8 transport. And then we have what appears to be... Oh, I just realized my mic is peeping. That's funny. Hold on one second. The mic... I don't know what it is with my computer, but it really likes to mess around with the sound settings, so I'm just going to lower that one a little bit because it looked like it was peaking on OBS, but let me go ahead and reset that. Nonetheless, we've got Blue 4 here, the paramilitary faction. We see these appear to be AK-74s with... It's a AK-74 mag. I just don't recall the color off the top of my head, but these guys, we got some PSO scopes, we got some red dots because they have NPZ railing, we got a PKP with a PKAS scope, which is just a red dot, and then it's just a transport Mi-8. How you doing, Ian? Good to see you, buddy. Also, Sajkui, excuse me, Daz Shark, VGR, how y'all doing? Regardless, rest of Blue 4 here, we've got some BTR 40s in play, we got some gas, transport trucks. Looks like no heavy assets in terms of vehicles, it's all just transport, but their weaponry appears to be the same, so marksmen appear to be just those scoped AK players, PKPs with PKAS red dots. Commander here... Interesting. So Flip for Flap is the commander, and he has shades. Everyone else just has the colored bandanas, but they got PKAS sights as well. Looks like the marksmen here are actually Mark 110s with a big scope on that, no suppressor. So very interesting mix-mash of weaponry here. Blue 4 marksmen are U.S. marksman rifles, but a lot of Russian-based weaponry for the paramilitary forces. But it all appears to be just AK focused. We got some GP-25s in play as well, but just small squads of 6, give or take. And then we've got some light AT for both sides with some RPG-26s. Looking over at Op 4, their factions are red. We have the same exact weaponry in play, though. And down to the marksman rifle. So same exact gear, same exact vehicles are just reskinned. So this is about as even as you can get for a PvP match. Both sides using the same weaponry, same vehicles. I'd imagine they've rigged it so the armor ballistics are the same, and the coverage of that armor is the same. So this is just going to really be down to skill. So I'm willing to bet we're going to see an Mi-8 over here. Yep, unarmed, with a small team right here. Even smaller for Op 4. They're only going to do a 4-man here. And then we got those LRs in play as well. Otherwise, Flip for Flap going to be Blue 4's commander, the pilots, Ventilage and Montes. The marksmen, all right. So I think that's an objective for the CIA to eliminate within a certain time frame. Not sure if it's to murder the one marksman player or that entire team. But either way, they've been marked for death, essentially. And then I'd imagine the platoon leads for Blue 4 are going to be these guys. Yeah, so ALB, I think, is leadership, and then Bravo platoon, the leadership is that element. So at some point, they're going to have to get sniped by the marksman here. Op 4's commander, we have Depso and Timek as the 2IC1 pilot, which is going to be Oddball. And I'm trying to see if they've got any platoon leadership here. We do have some dudes with berets. Here's one of them. It blends in with the balaclava, which is quite interesting. So that's going to be Zixme on that side. And then they have a Charlie element as well. So berets and colored balaclavas. Interesting. And then you got the air group right here. And then the marksman is simply Skita ranging for Pi. Now we've got our Green 4 CIA assassins here. So right off the bat, we've got... That is a FAL platform with a suppressor and a 203 and an ACOG. We've got marksman with... Oh my god. I think it's a Mark 211. No, wait, that is suppressed. And he's got ghillie suits. We've got suppressed oh my god. Suppressed freaking SU-230 M249s. We've got another pair of snipers. These have, I think, 338 Lapua. And then we got one guy that hasn't been taken yet. But these are two 4-man teams. They have a sit-down 50 cal. They've got a 3-man Little Bird. This is the scouting variant. They've got 2 of those, actually. We've got two SUVs. Oh my god. And then we've got an M4 with a 320 and an ACOG. They're not ACOGs, they're freaking SU-230 scopes. Much more expensive than ACOGs, as I have come to realize. So... the CIA have some very unique objectives, but here's the thing. Point-wise, the only way they're going to win is if Blue 4 or Op 4 get 2 out of the 3 objectives. If Blue 4 or Op 4 get all 3 of these objectives, points-wise, the CIA cannot win. Because that would be 2 plus 3, which is 8. Whereas Green 4, I think in total can get 9 points, but like 4 of those points are incredibly difficult to get. So what we need to see, at least for the CIA, is they need to start early on. They need to pick a faction that's going to win the first area. And then they just need to harass that faction opening up. But after... because 3 and 3... because another thing they could do is just pick a faction to dominate outright after the 50-minute mark, but I think there's so many different ways this can be done. Because as Green 4, they're basically trying to rig it so that one faction only takes 2/3 of the objectives to get them a more likely position to win. Late game, Green 4 have to focus on killing the enemy commanders because they have to keep them alive till a certain point and then eliminate them. That's going to be really difficult. The marksman team early on need to go, so that's what Green 4 should prioritize, is finding the marksmen and eliminating them. And as I revealed to you guys, they can actively track where all squads are in real time, and they can also break into people's radios and listen to them locally, which is a really cool script. But again, how do you allow for one side or the other to win? And also, these represent... so Green 4 also know at any given point how many people are alive on either group. I'm not sure if that's a kill tracker or an alive tracker, but they're flashing 0 right now on occasion. So we'll occasionally check back and see if that number changes for us. But with Op 4 and Blue 4 being so far away from these AOs, it is going to take a hot second for them to get up to those positions. We'll just have to see how things go. I didn't see an SA-58 on anyone. I saw a suppressed FAL with a 203 on it, and it's a modernized FAL on one of these guys. But the other Blue 4 and Op 4 are just using... oh my gosh, whatchamacallits? AK-74s. But betting-wise, I mean... Blue 4 and Op 4 are pretty much identical. The only difference is going to be the players, but OFCRA... what? Never mind, bet Blue 4. If you're going to bet on a faction... There you go. There's your answer. SA-58 is a fail? Oh, I'm thinking, yeah, no, I'm thinking of the VZ-58, my bad. You're right. So we have two vehicles on fire, and it looks like OPFOR clipped two vehicles together and caused a little mass cas. I'd imagine the admin's going to respawn them all, but that's going to slow OPFOR's movement down a little bit, but we already see that most of OPFOR is mobilizing, whereas Blue 4 have failed to mobilize all of their vehicles. So looking at spawn, they are still moving out. But I'm going to be honest, this is the first time I've seen a Green 4 faction where they actually have a genuine chance in custom objectives to win. So if you want to risk it for the biscuit, I would vote Green 4. Who are Green 4 players here? Kremet, Gregory, Rodrig, and Lenfilder, with Rizbo, Duitsa, Natha, and Maxic. I'm going to be honest, those are traditional, and a Blue 4 Vic just flew away. And we have a Blue 4 paratrooper. One of them wakes back up, and there he goes. Oh, he knocked out 2 trees on his way down. Yeah. So, okay, both Blue 4 and Op 4 have suffered a catastrophic loss of a squad. So, you know, not off to the best of starts. I'd imagine if anyone on Green 4 was tracking the map to see where people were flying, they probably would have seen stuff like this, but we are seeing that these are both flashing 0, which to me indicates that we're not able to see those numbers. They're only coded for Green 4 to track them, but we'll see where these two MI8s land and how things go from there. But regardless, admins are definitely going to have their hands full for the first few minutes of getting people respawned and whatnot. But yeah, both of the factions are off to a great start. But regardless, back to my previous point of the Green 4 players, they're good, but they're not noteworthy good. OFCRA, again, we see a lot of really good individuals. However, the reason they become noteworthy is because of their positioning compared to, let's say, Friday Night Fights, where we would in the past see Papega Pirates or Scandi Recon just outperform everybody by a mile. You don't really have that in OFCRA, and both of those factions, or communities, excuse me, have come into OFCRA and played in the past, but they weren't really able to do much noteworthy because the tactics they would use in FNF wouldn't work. Sorry, I saw an OPFOR marker fly all the way to the south there in the blink of an eye. That was, okay, interesting. Sorry to cut off my wordage there, but as I was saying, they tried their tactics in OFCRA and were met with very stiff resistance because here in OFCRA, a lot of the communities play the same way they do in FNF, or those two individual communities do, where they're very aggressive, they're very quick, and they do know when to rush and do know when to play defensively. So that's why we don't see Papega or OFCRA in Papega or Scandi in OFCRA a lot. Then again, we haven't seen Papega in a hot second in any PvP, and then Scandi we only see at half strength these days, so I think both of those communities are starting to fade out to time. But that's just making it more, giving an opening the door for a new faction to arise within Friday Night Fights, and we'll see how things go. Regardless, this is about a 135-player operation. Blue 4 has landed a few guys. Op 4 is still flying their helicopter over. Op 4 has a majority of their forces deployed. Blue 4 keeping a lot of their forces along the coast. So from there, we can track the roads here. That's going to lead them to possibly dismounting back here and moving in. For Op 4, though, the roads they're using, looks like they're going to potentially go off-road as well, up a mountain ridge, which is definitely going to slow them down because they do have Let's see, the Gazes and the BTR-40s aren't the best mountain climbers. I mean, that is... that's older tech there in itself. But Green 4, meanwhile, haven't even left their spawn point yet. I think they're just tracking right now where Blue 4 and Op 4 are going, and they're going to see where they deploy before they decide on where to deploy themselves. We do hear a helicopter spooling up, though. I mean, those helis with one pilot, they could probably drop off 2 marksmen. Oh, no, they're 4-man. All right. That's why. I'm thinking of the AH-6 Little Bird, which can only carry 1 additional person above the pilot and co-pilot, but those are the basic scouting ones, and you can fit 2 people in them. But yeah, both factions have been pretty much off to a mirrored start. Both have had Arma issues and gotten themselves killed. Looks like all of Blue 4 have been respawned, so... they're all kind of separated here, which is going to be really tough for them to get back together, whereas Op4's Maskaz, which I think cost 2 vehicles in a squad and a half, were respawned here and their vehicles brought back. So getting all these guys together is going to be a tough one. So we'll just have to see how things go. Op 4, meanwhile, their helicopter's going low. I think they're trying to find a place to land. They could fly over Blue 4's position low, though. They're cutting a little to the right. I think they're going for right there. That could give Blue 4 member an opportunity to get an early shot off. Lolo might look over. He's going to see the helicopter landing there. But Op 4 immediately pull away. That was a false LZ. I'm going to be honest, though. Blue 4 have to treat that as a potential team insurgent. And you see that. They're already going low. They're trying to figure out where that team might have gone. So that's a very interesting call. I'm doing fine. Charlotte, how are you? Regardless, Blue 4, they're coming up to this building. They're going to think that either Op 4 went down the hill or they garrisoned this building. So that's going to stall them. Little do they realize, I'm not sure if Op 4 saw them coming up that position. So, I mean, it's interesting. Yes, Boo?
Pop quiz.
What's the pop quiz?
When something happens where we drop something,
Yep.
what do we say?
Yahtzee. No, Opa. I know that.
No. Like our couple thing. Like what's one of our vocabulary when something falls out of our hands or something.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. What? Dumbass?
No.
Usually that's what we say, though.
Well, that's if it's something that someone purposely did and we're like, dumbass.
Oh.
But, what if it was on accident?
There are no accidents.
Disaster.
Catastrophe.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Hope you're feeling better, Goober.
You get a 70%.
Thank you. That's a passing grade.
Dumbass.
I am streaming, though.
Are you?
Yes.
I couldn't tell because you're having the headset on. And
Yeah? Oh.
OBS is open. And
All right, Green 4 have landed a few guys up on the hill. Op 4 did their false LZ and then landed some guys over here.
Do you have lore?
I have many names, apparently. And we'll see how this Blue 4 group rebounds. Yeah, I was going to make you a lava cake to make you feel better.
Okay.
So I would like to keep working, okay? That's the mic. Don't eat the mic.
But it's so novel.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a lava cake?
Yes, I will make you a lava cake after my stream.
I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no lava
sorry.
cake review. Yeah, that's right. Give me that. Don't drown me with it. I love you.
Lava cake.
Yes. I will make you a lava cake after the stream, okay?
I wanna eat dinner.
Okay, I'll make you the lava cake around... I work 8 to 10 as well, so I will make it to you after... I will make it after 10 then, okay? Okay. Love you. All right, Op 4 helicopter still flying around. I have no idea what they're going to be trying to do up there because it's an MI8. They're not going to be able to see much. Meanwhile, it looks like both teams are trying to move up to this hill. Blue 4 is going to get there first. They verified that was a false LZ. Blue 4 do outnumber Op 4 by 1. We have 2 riflemen. One has a PSO scope. And I think Blue 4 is going to mirror that, more or less, because you got the RPG gunner with the PSO. You've got a Grenadier. Do they have a machine gunner, though? They don't. Okay. It's interesting what people fill with because of what they see and whatnot. Looks like Blue 4, Lolo just noticed the 3 moving right there, so he's going to get his guys to move up. Blue 4 and Op 4, meanwhile, moving up to their final their beginning objectives here. And, yeah, don't... She is such a goober. Regardless, Op 4 might get caught in the open here and engage as Blue 4 sets up an ambush. Green 4 setting up on the top left hill here. They might try to harass Op 4 early on. Oh, no, Lolo begins firing early. I don't think that was the best call to make. I feel like that Blue 4 team should have held and waited. But it looks like they're making Op 4 now guess where they are. We saw some blind fire in the middle of Op 4's line here. But yeah, I think they should have waited until Op 4 came a bit further out in the open. They could have come up to this open spot and been flanked, but that's just my nitpicking. Got some blind suppression going out. We got Blue 4 coming around on the right. They're going to try to flank those positions. And this is a Grenadier, so if Alexander can put a few well-placed Grenadier shots on that group. You also have to remember, if you are playing a mirror match fight, you're probably going to know that ahead of time, which means whoever you kill, you're going to be able to take ammo off of. So you should be able to just go nuts. Burn through quite a bit of your ammo, but we do have that Op 4 helicopter coming back. It's going to get information on this group flanking around, and then they're going to tell the Op 4 guys down there what's going on. Meanwhile, Green 4 have all mounted up over here, NT, with the raid. What armor mod were you playing, NT? How are you doing? And regardless, we'll see how. Got a raid and run. All right. The Samurai one? Damn, Arma 3 has Samurais now. That's crazy. Anyway, have a good one, buddy. Alright, so I think he's talking with the helicopter pilot who just did a close flyby. We do see that Blue 4 are pretty much spearheading for their main force to come in, though, which is why I think they're getting a little squirrely here and not committing to a push. Rather, they're just trying to disengage, but they're going in 3 separate directions. So, I'm sure Blue 4's tactics completely surpass my own thought process here as they just go down an open hill. Anyway. At that point, that's not a hill, that's a freaking ridge, but regardless. Green 4 are over here now, staging, and I think just waiting at this point. Got 3 of their marksmen up here talking and making plans. I think that is a suppressor for that gun. But they're right next to where the Op 4 element's going, but they're still 2 kilometers away. So I think Op 4 is going to go for the abandoned base. Blue 4 is going to go for the radio mast, and then both sides are going to pull back and just see whoever dominates that. So Op 4, if both sides just play defensively for an objective, Op 4 should really go for harassing Green 4, Green 4 should go for harassing Op 4 first, but they want to fight in the middle of the open firefight. So if they engage Op 4 openly, Op 4 is just going to turn everything and engage them. Rather, Green 4 need to be in the middle of a Blue 4 versus Op 4 firefight. That way they can deal the most damage without being noticed and then directly engaged. So let's see if Green 4 follows up with that strategy. But the numbers are in. Can someone read me what the 3-way betting streak looks like? How many points do we have for Op 4, Blue 4, and Green 4, if you don't mind? Regardless, now I see Op 4 sticking together here. They're going to try to come down the ridge, potentially catch Blue 4 in the open. But we do have 1 Blue 4 member on security over here. That was the Grenadier. And Op 4 is just above him. See if Alexander turns left and notices there is a bit of foliage between them. But I think Alexander just saw putting a GL round uphill on those trees wouldn't be a bad idea. That could at least get one, maybe two. But they're also on that open hillside, but I'm not sure he'd be able to place that shot. Now you see OFCRA spacing out and moving. Alexander was watching that position where he saw movement, might have seen more going right, but otherwise OFCRA is going to disengage and start heading to the radio mast. Meanwhile, Blue 4 starting their dismounting here. I'm not sure if the helicopter spotted that moving in, but I really don't think moving through open areas right now would be the best of calls. They do have cover here, but this means they're trying to route down there, which means they could be spotted by anything going in, which means they don't want to stick to the high ground. Because maybe they're fearful that Blue 4 pushed a few units up and they don't want to engage them, but still, a little bit of a weird pathing call by OFCRA in that scouting part, but we'll just have to see how things go. And I agree, their camos do look very similar, because it is a mirror match. Same gear, same weaponry, same vehicles. One just happens to be a bit more of a tan faction, but the backpacks do throw it off a little bit, where the other one is more green. How you doing, Whale? We have the frickin' CIA right here just chilling for a moment. Their helicopter, Blue 4 have a helicopter way up in the air. And for now, these guys are just laying low and keeping security amongst themselves. Let's actually take a look at the yellow triangles. What do we got? Yep, they're just basic transport Euros. For anyone that gets caught alone, they've got some transport to pretty much get them out of the zone if need be. Alexander still pulling security, doesn't have an angle on OFCRA moving. He did for a brief moment, but I'm going to be honest, if he knows contacts are above him, what are the likelihoods of him checking his flanks? I know I would, and I'd be focusing on the contact. I would like to see PvP communities embrace armbands a bit more. I've seen that in some other communities I've looked and even played in recently. That is quite nice. But for now, OPFOR are flying a pilot over the main Blue 4 group coming in. We could see a very simple game of both sides taking their objective, holding it, and then pulling back to the final one. Blue 4 using the extra 20 minutes they have, because this is cashing at the 50-minute mark and that one at the 70-minute mark. Trying to pull back to the final objective earlier on, and then Green 4 just becoming a bit irrelevant, but a peaceful game does give Green 4 at least 3 or 4 points before they have to start eliminating forces, but still, definitely not in Green 4's favor if both sides just kind of piecemeal the AO and only have fighting at the end. "3D prints have been done, but I forgot to message you." Oh. Well, Kitsune, send them to me over Discord. I'd love to see what you 3D printed. Otherwise, OPFOR being meticulously slow. They're trying to set up a group to basically cover this ridgeline before they start moving down on that objective. Blue 4 being a bit less tactical. We have a random smoke grenade thrown out here. I'd imagine that was a bad smoke throw, but they're just going to climb up the ridge and then eventually get to the objective area over here. But OPFOR are getting some good scouting, and Blue 4, I think, are just flying around. Hard to tell what Blue 4's helicopter is doing. The stuff you asked for? Forgive me, Kitsune. It's been a while. I barely remember the fact that I ate breakfast this morning, let alone what it was. I think it was a bowl of cereal, or it could have been a granola bar. I don't remember. But regardless, we got Blue 4 friendly wiggling each other. I think they got intermingled with Lolo as part of the reconnaissance team. And we have the helicopters. Oh, boy. Dancing around up here. Oh, I agree. A peaceful game does make for a bit of a boring game, but we can just sit up here and talk about stuff. Like we have Pog pay for campaign tonight with Plinko. I don't think Bloodwind's going to do the Plinko stuff, though, because we kind of broke her last time with over 100 Plinko drops. It was funny, though. Ah, right, oh, Kitsune. That would definitely be something I would ask for. Can't wait to see how it came out. Been banana jelly pudding, good God. Yeah, both helicopters are literally circling up here, though, interestingly enough, the Blue 4 helicopter has its back doors open. That is because you can get in the back seats and engage each other from those two back seats. We've seen snipers get in the backs of these helicopters and do stuff, but Oddball is only a single person in his helicopter. So we just have a little bit of a helicopter joust going on. Yes, Dwarf, she gets out of Siri school in 2 days. Alright, we got Op4, they've sent a group down. They're going to start taking over the abandoned base, but that's not cashed in until the 78-minute mark, considering the 8-minute safe start that both sides enjoy. Alright, so my camera jumping there means that someone in Blue 4 switched seats. You see that a gun is poking out of the doorway, meaning that they are trying to get an angle to engage. I think Op4 is trying to pull Blue 4 over to their side so they can line up a shooter to potentially engage that helicopter, but I don't really see any Op4 members ready to engage. Helicopter PID, it's light versus dark. There's the commander firing. So decent bait by Op4. Blue 4 bought it hook, line, and sinker, and we've got Op4 properly identifying which chopper to shoot at. And it is an MI8, so it's going to be very easy to shoot down. It looks like we don't see any lucky engine hits from the ground fire here. And we do have that MI8 breaking away after they've realized where they've flown into. We just saw one round bounce off. But otherwise, minimal damage to that helicopter. And got the Op4 helicopter just flying over Blue 4 again. I really don't understand why Blue 4 isn't engaging. The fact that that helicopter keeps coming back here means that they know where you are. I get not shooting the first time to give away your position, but once that helicopter does start flying over the area, at that point, shoot it down. Because it knows you're there at that point if it keeps coming back. But I think Oddball, the pilot here, is just testing the boundaries of, will Blue 4 shoot at me? No? Okay. If Blue 4's helicopter keeps getting close to me, I'll just fly it over. But then you also have this 3-man team moving around, just trying to see what it can do, but... yeah, we've got some Blue 4 elements bypassing, starting to head north, which is going to be to the CIA's advantage, because they want Blue 4 and Op 4 to get into an open fight so they can start picking people off. Yeah, on the map, it looked like they were within 20 meters of each other, but there was a massive height difference there. Now Oddball's trying to run down the Blue 4 helicopter, but again, the Mi-8 has open back seats, so you'd want to just get in the back and start spraying down the heli, and we finally have someone engaging. And we just had someone in the back actually shoot at Oddball. Who's now attempting to dive and to break away from the Blue 4 helicopter. Interesting. But a very slow game to start. This weekend we are going to have a lot of Arma. Half a Saturday I'm going to be serving as a butler at a tea party, and then just back-to-back Arma. We'll try to cram in a second DayZ stream as well. The more casual one on Ghost Wolf's server. But Oddball's been doing some pretty good maneuvers on that helicopter. And he's, I think, just at this point, going to keep harassing Blue 4's movements here. There will be DayZ. There's always DayZ on Friday evening. unless it's the very rare time where we don't do it, such as something else takes precedent. I will also let you guys know this. I have already said it once, I'll say it again, and then I'm not going to bring up any more details on it till after next Monday, but there is a 24-hour op in the works. It's going to be done either across 6 or 8 mission files with 4 different communities, so it's technically an MCO as well. But there is a 24-hour operation in the works, and I am going to do my best to cover all 24 hours of it on the Zeus side. But there's a lot of logistics that has to be done on it, but I'm in charge of setting up all of the OPFOR elements. So I've already selected all the vehicles. I've already informed Everett from 3CB that it's going to mainly be 3CB factions based, because all 4 of those communities that I mentioned, they've been around for a while, and they're all RHS based, so I think the last thing they'd want to see is a bunch of Russian gear, since they've been fighting that for years, so I'm going to be pulling stuff from 3CB. Furthermore, I need to make an OPFOR infantry plan, but I just found out, I think yesterday, that the main groups use Mark 262 ammo and 5.56. So I'm going to be making a pseudo-Turkish splinter military faction for that op. But like I said, more on that after Monday, because then I'll know more of what we're doing. You know, I'm kind of glad I didn't have coffee, because this is a very low-intensity op, so for the start, because we've got OPFOR's recon team just kind of dodging Blue 4 at the moment. Green 4 doesn't seem to want to do anything until Blue 4 and OPFOR directly engage each other. Both sides did have an ARMA event and lose a squad early on, and it's kind of funny how they mirrored each other in that regard, but I mean, we're nearly through the entire early game, and barely any shots have been fired, and the only deaths have been from vehicles clipping into each other. And I'm going to be honest, that's usually a rarity in OFCRA. Usually the early game is host to either both sides immediately engaging each other, or at least some form of reconnaissance team engaging or an ambush or whatnot, but there hasn't been a single KIA to any direct engagement. I thought maybe the 2 recon teams would run into each other, but that is just not the case. Blue 4's recon team is down here now. I'm kind of glad I didn't have coffee, because I'd have a would be really high intense helicopter chasing at this point. I'm surprised OPFOR hasn't been flying more over their own territory to bait the Blue 4 helicopter into shooting them, and Oddball knows that as soon as he gets behind the Blue 4 helicopter, he needs to get away. But Blue 4, I think, just completely lost him. And we just had that helicopter strafe right over some Blue 4 players, but I guess they've been ordered to ignore him. Because otherwise, I feel like that PKP gunner could have easily mag-dumped that helicopter, because he was within 20 meters of him. And again, I get not engaging the helicopter, but at that point, if OPFOR keeps flying their helicopter over your position, OPFOR knows where you are at that point, so just shoot it down. Especially if you get an opportunity like that. But Blue 4, I think, have completely lost where OPFOR's helicopter went, so now I think they're just flying around trying to find it. But a PKP could easily rip apart an MI8's engine. 24 hours of DayZ when? Alright. You know what? You know what, Ian, I'll give you a deal, alright? Because today, not today, excuse me, tomorrow's DayZ is going to be the final op to basically preface a bunch of operations for the end of May and early June. And we've already been scheduling some of the stuff, because DayZ streams have also turned into, you know, fundraising ops for other communities and whatnot. For July, so basically the beginning of June, when we have a new list of operations to set up, I will... God, 24 hours, though, I gotta really think. Like, in terms of commission jobs, I can run up to 2 or 3 commissions a day. So that would be... That'd be about $500. I'll put down towards the end of it, because I would rather set up a bunch of Arma stuff first. I will set up something where if it gets funded, we will do a 24-hour Arma op. The logistic, or not Arma, excuse me, the DayZ stream. A 24-hour DayZ stream, because we're already doing the latter, but I digress. The logistics of that, though, is going to be interesting, mainly on the administrative side, but we'll see. We'll see. But I will put it out there next month, which is only in 2 weeks, give or take. And if it gets funded, then God help me, but I will figure it out. Oh, boy, I will figure it out. Because then I'll have to black out a day for that, but yeah. Might as hell. But I'm actually proud of myself. We've gotten a lot of stuff done. I've been keeping track of, I want to say, at least 90% of the things I need to keep track of. I have let 10% of it fall behind, but I'm trying to spend today to pick that up as we go forward, but yeah. Oh, cool. So they light up with the color based off of who has the higher number here. But this Blue 4 group's going to go for that radio mass. I'd imagine the rest of this infantry is probably going to try to get on the ridge, and this is where we'll have that opening engagement. But it's going to take another 10 to 15 minutes. Time to pay to free the DayZ guns. Good God. I'll have to ask Razor if there's anything fun we can add to the server if we're going to make a 24-hour event, but I'm not going to give it any serious thought until I put it on a D-Goal tracker and it gets funded outright. Alright, that'll be that. But yeah, no, this weekend's going to have a bunch of ops, and then next weekend I'm going to have to take a day off because there's some IRL stuff I need to take care of. And I know this weekend I also need to spend some time. Bloodwayne's been pressuring me to go to a doctor because I still can't fully extend my right arm. It's not... And I can't put anything, I want to say, past 5 pounds of weight on that arm yet. It's just heavily freaking sprained. Nothing feels broken. It could be a microfracture somewhere, but it's been sprained for about 2 months. I can still do what I need to with it, but yeah, so I gotta go get that looked at, I guess. Getting your wisdom teeth removed? Ooh, well, good luck, Shark. Oh, God. Flash, if you're gonna help it, then... then that opens up the realm of possibility, then. I'll also say this, Flash is also tied to that 24-hour Arma op I was talking about earlier, so if he's willing to commit to that, then... I try not to do anything half-assed either, even though sometimes it does look that way, because something we test 20 times on the server decides, hey, I'm not going to work on the 21st time when we do it live, but that's how Arma is. And there's not much we can do about that. Oh, God. See, and it bugs me, too, because the bugs we were fighting with in the Korean War Op on Monday, we used the same exact mods, minus Northern Fronts, because I had to make it smaller for the 506, but same exact mods, same exact map, had planes flying outside of the map and everything, no lag spikes whatsoever. So I'm pretty sure, for whatever reason, it's the MiGs and the F-86s, when they go off the map, they just lag the freaking map for some weird reason. So it's the assets themselves. So I might not use those anymore, and instead I might just use prop planes, which sucks, because I like the MiG-15s and I like the Sabres, but I'm going to have to keep them to a really big map then, because otherwise it just causes these really weird lag spikes. I don't know. I don't get it. It's just... whatever. Now we know. Man. Well, here's another thing. The, in terms of the main channel, we're finally going to start releasing the DayZ videos. We have at least 12. I'm not kidding when I say that. We have 12. So we're going to be releasing a DayZ video every 4 days, and the 4 days after that will be an Arma video, and then a DayZ video. So every 8 days, basically, is when they alternate. 4 for DayZ, 4 for Arma, 4 for DayZ, that sort of thing. So we'll be releasing more videos. It's just a little less on the Arma side, and then, well, you know, more in total. But I'm hoping that'll also drum up some attention. But again, it's YouTube, and everyone knows that YouTube has me blacklisted. But regardless, we still have our core viewership there. And hey, more content's more content. But regardless, I can't tell if they're potentially tracking the 3-man OPFOR team. We do see binos tucked out and looking in that direction. I just can't tell if they're looking at their own stuff. You just got a notification for one? Yeah, there's some ways I can still get out from under that blacklist that we've still been experimenting with, and I think with what we're about to do, it'll have a good impact, but we'll see. Give them a reason. There's a difference between a blacklist and a ban, though, unfortunately. Regardless. Oh, the helicopters are chasing each other again. That's their one job. And you know what? I guess from Oddball's perspective, that's nice, because that means Blue 4's pilot isn't out doing any reconnaissance. And now we've got a Green 4 helicopter flying around. I'm curious if he's loaded the bear and he's going to fly in and just start shooting people. But these guys are all the marksmen. So I think they're going to fly over and just land at a different spot. Yeah, righto, Hockey. I'll see you tonight then, broski. But yeah, I think OPFOR once again is trying to bait Blue 4 to come along the ridge, but Blue 4 is wising up to it, and they're not going to chase OPFOR down all the way. But you can see OPFOR is literally goading him to come over by flying low and slow. He wants Blue 4 to come in. But funny enough, by shooting at Blue 4, they are giving their position away the longer that Blue 4 stays in the AO to receive fire. That's an interesting call nonetheless. Alright. With that, yeah, so OPFOR outright landed to try to bait Blue 4 on top of him, but they didn't go for the bait. OPFOR, meanwhile, they're deploying their marksmen over to the Blue 4 side. So they're going to be in 2 different areas to potentially harass. We also have a Green 4, the CIA group. They're going to potentially get on the northern side of OPFOR as well and harass. And now we've got this 3-man scout team in between Blue 4 elements just hunkering down at the moment. A lot of maneuvering, but not a lot of action. Very interesting calls. So this is the Blue 4 marksman team. That's why we have Green 4 over here, because Green 4 have an objective to eliminate both factions' marksman teams by a certain mark. So I'm willing to bet these guys are trying to line up to engage these guys from over here, but now OPFOR is flying back into Blue 4 territory. And we're going to potentially see some action here. Blue 4 is going to run right on top of those 3 OPFOR scouts. Does Nuzzy see them? Nope. And he conveniently turns around at the best possible time to not spot anything. Very convenient for OPFOR. And now OPFOR are moving into the open with Blue 4 right behind them. This is where OPFOR's clock is going to run out here. And then they've got another Blue 4 group right up here that can then maneuver, get on the hill, and engage. All platoon leaders alive by 40 minutes, failed by... Do we have a dead platoon lead? I don't see any skulls. It might be calculating for everyone alive. Like, as in, I'm going to look at everything with an L real quick. There might be a skull on something. Or that script could be calculating all possible platoon leads. But in terms of what I see here, we still have all 4 of the platoon leaders still alive. So I think it's calculating for all instead. So that should be a pass by Green 4 because they're all still alive at the moment. Talk about them being literally under your nose. I'm going to be really surprised if OPFOR survives. Yeah, no, I think OPFOR just noted this group coming out. These guys might think that this group's friendly. Oh my god. So I'm going to be honest, if OPFOR's smart, they won't engage. And that has just alerted the Blue 4 that there is a hostile force here, or they could play it off as, hey, maybe someone just shot at the helicopter. Who knows? Nope. And now he's dead. There it is. Now these two trying to give some follow-up shots to get some headshots behind this rock. But they don't seem to line up any hits here. There it is. So you got more Blue 4 coming up on this ridge. They're going to start flanking the OPFOR elements down here. They're catching that PKP gunner in a reload. He just finished, though. And he gets knocked out by Pupper. Third and final guy running in the open. Tries to get behind a rock. A well-timed grenade will root him out. OPFOR tries to stand up to line up some shots here. And he gets knocked out by Pupper on the flank there. So there goes the there goes the OPFOR recon team. Meanwhile, the shots are coming up from up here. This is the CIA marksman team trying to eliminate the Blue 4 marksman team, because if they eliminate them, they will gain a point. I think they still have like 30 minutes to eliminate both factions' marksman teams. But you see them quickly trying to plant some shots here. Meanwhile, there is a potential third engagement. We have the Blue 4 helicopter harassing the OPFOR one again. OPFOR sending a group up to where the Blue 4 recon team has set up shop. OPFOR want to take that castle. Blue 4 already have it. And Blue 4, they only have one scoped guy to potentially try to counter-snipe Green 4, but all 4 of them, I think, have marksman capability. 2 with 211s and 2 with 338s. We do have periscopes in play, though. Oh. Oh, yes. You can use that to try to find him. That is so funny. I rarely see periscopes in PvP, but we finally see why there's... I thought that was a frag for half a second. I was about to go, hey, buddy. That was the wrong thing to hit. And then we have an OPFOR group that's been deployed back here. So that means OPFOR, I think, grabbed a group in their helicopter when they landed and are now trying to harass Blue 4 in the rear here to go for the radio mast, realizing that Blue 4 aren't really going to do anything at this position. Blue 4, meanwhile, their recon group gets out of the castle and is going to start probably moving into the final objective. So Blue 4 just playing very, very defensively. Meanwhile, the marksman is unconscious for OPFOR. And I have no idea how he would have gotten taken out. I don't see anyone. He's dead. Did he fall out of the helicopter? That's really funny, because he's an objective to kill for Green 4, so Green 4 just got him for free. So if Blue 4 lose their marksman, Green 4 get another point. Meanwhile, looking over here, it does look like Blue 4 took a few additional... No, okay, so Pierce got shot behind the rock. Renly, I think, was the first kill... No, he wasn't. It was another guy. So a few more guys got killed off, and I don't know by what. So I guess that three-man team was able to take out quite a few guys, and Gerald, the squad leader, was killed for the marksman team. But I think the actual marksman, which is Settler, needs to be killed off for Green 4 to get the other point there. After that, it's just them keeping things alive and then picking a group and just dominating them. Op4 otherwise coming in a squad to the south. We've got a single Blue 4 squad here. Op4, if they get in the higher ground, though, and catch Blue 4 in the open, they can do a lot of damage. Op4 have another squad on the castle. Blue 4 are going to move a squad up to take that castle, knowing that Recon already cleared it out, but Op4 have since entered it, so we could see Op4 do an ambush on Blue 4 forces here, so Op4 seem to be in better positioning. Plus, the abandoned base is worth one additional point, but Blue 4 has access to the town, which is a bit closer, and we still have this massive vanguard of Op4 forces in the rear here. But Green 4 starting to harass Blue 4 early on is also an interesting call. Got the helicopters chasing each other again. Every time you see a symbol of an infantryman flash on top of that helicopter, that's really just them changing seats. Because that helicopter keeps trying to get on an angle where they can shoot at the other helicopter. I'm going to be honest, this would have been a really cool fight to see both sides have the, not the gunship pylon racks, but the PKTs. So they could actually engage each other via gunboat system. That would have been really entertaining. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? Yes, Auntie, that's probably the same castle, because Al Ryak has been with us since the beginning. How are you doing? Long time no see. Hope everything's okay with you. Alright. So I'd imagine these guys might be trying to scout out that final position. I just love the fact that we see periscopes. And that Blue 4 group is not going for the castle, instead it's starting to fold into that final area. Helicopter flying overhead. I think if the helicopter briefly flew over the objective, it might turn red. Marksman team's folding back with Settlers, so Green 4 lost the opportunity to pick them off, but we do see some guys trying to advance to different ridges to find a new position on them. Helicopter's still flying overhead, and for now it's just going to be another slow part of maneuvering. Op4, I don't think they're going to really have an angle to engage anymore Blue 4 because they're just fortifying the ridge along with the high ground of the objective. And we just briefly saw the one Op4 scout, which is their medic, briefly get engaged by, ironically, another medic. I'd love to see Green 4 snipe the pilot out of that helicopter. We're not going to see it. They're not going to make that type of engagement because watching the two helicopters joust each other is definitely a distraction in and of itself, but this is going to be one of those rare OFCRA ops where we're not going to really see the bulk of the action till the end game. And even then, based off of where both sides are, it's going to take a while for the maneuvering to actually get that in play. All right. Again, it looks like they're getting close to each other, which actually here they are. A few shots came in from that Blue 4 pilot, but I'm just kind of baffled by this, really. It's really rare to see a slow OFCRA game. We've got one guy going completely off the wall for his squad. We got Blue 4 spotting Op 4 all the way in the back here, actually getting some pickoffs. All right. Otherwise, it's just that, so we're just gonna have to see what a single guy does to an entire group. We've got all these fortifications as Blue 4 has kind of closed off everything. I think they were pre-firing this position, though, and that's just really unfortunate for Bluck, but I really can't even tell what's going on. I think there was a misconception with Op 4 being up there, and it just so happened that Bluck went up there, too. No, Blue 4, only their team lead is dead, not the marksman. But Blue 4 are going to circle wagons on that objective and just have everything either head here, but they also have a middle ridge force right there as well. Interesting. Alright. So Bluck now maneuvering on the side away because he was engaged. But, I mean, everyone's just going to be looking in his direction, so there's not much he can do. I think Blue 4 just going to definitively get that position. Op 4 haven't really been challenged on this one, so the final fight's just going to be on that one side. Now you got some CIA elements looking around, potentially looking, I think, at leadership positions to engage. So Zixme, he's a platoon lead. He is being incredibly paranoid behind his cover here. Looks like... Ooh, what helicopter is that? It's the Op 4 one. That had to have been a pilot error, and he's credited with an aircraft kill. And I think this is technically either a Blue 4 or Green 4 factioned aircraft, which is why, as an Op 4 player, he's credited with the kill. But since he's credited with it, that means he crashed it himself. So I don't think he was shot down, or he might have been plinked at by the Blue 4 helicopter, but either way, he goes down. He's a very aggressive helicopter pilot, but the Mi-8, you gotta kind of fly it around. How do I word it? The Mi-8 is not the most maneuverable helicopter in the world, so you gotta be a bit resilient on the stick with it, but you have to give a lot more room for maneuvers on it compared to something like a Little Bird. Yeah, you still have Blue Force suppressing that position blindly and putting GLs up here. Bluck, I think he's trying to find a way to get up and engage. He's a medic, so he can always treat himself, but he's trying to look through these little keyholes here and see what he can actually hit. And he actually does get a knockout on MLG, and immediately takes return fire from Kafir's. Alright. So it looks like Blue Force spotted some of the CIA operatives all the way out here. And they're returning fire now. Langfell is credited with a kill, but I think that's on the Blue 4 group they engaged earlier. And then Pierce is dead back there, same with Renly, so I don't think he just got a headshot right there. That would have been pretty funny if he took fire, immediately lined up his rifle and got a headshot. Alright, interesting. Op4 have meanwhile folded from the castle and have started in advance. We have another group that's deployed out here, which means they had to have done it on foot or via a vehicle and driven it around, and now they're putting pressure on this final area over here. Meanwhile, the helicopter is grounded in this spot. It looks like they were deploying Flip for Flap, who is Blue 4 Command. And we have the Op4 elements trying to come around and potentially take them out. I'm going to have to do math when everything gets cashed out here. We're going to be in Endgame, the final 30 minutes, in another 30 seconds, though. So this will be... No, this has already been cashed out then, because it's past the hour mark. Because that should have been cashed out at the 50-minute mark. So what are Blue 4 doing there if it should have been cashed out at 50 minutes? Even I'm confused at this point. Otherwise, Op4 pushing this position. Blue 4 having two groups. We see some very long-range GLs here. Oh, and Op4 just got a snipe shot on a Blue 4 member right there. That was Nicholas, I'm willing to bet, with his PSO scope. Now they're opening up with some suppression. Mr. White also got knocked out, but these guys are on the objective itself. So without immediate reinforcements, I think Op4 is going to be able to take that Blue 4 position with no problem. Funny enough, you have Blue 4 sending forces up. They're trying to find where Bluck is, but he's just hiding out at this point. So I think these guys are here just to keep these guys in that zone and stall him out at that point. And then you've got one Green 4 member, one of the CIA members, just walking up. We do potentially have vehicles coming down the road. Does he have any AT or GL capability? He does. Oh, boy. AT's primed. Let's see what he decides to hit. Hits the truck. And the explosion gets a few guys as they jump out. Does he have a grenadier rifle to follow through? No, he's got a 249. Oh my god. Trying to get double taps with it, but he's in an uneven area, so he can't rest the weapon. Gets one double tap. So OPFOR feeling the heat by some Green 4 elements here. You got another Blue 4 squad. They're coming up. There's so much attention on Block. He's got literally 3+ squads trying to find him. And OPFOR, meanwhile, it looks like they've had a few casualties here in some of the open areas. But Blue 4 might be able to repel that fight. Meanwhile, back to Green 4. I think he's just checking around, seeing what he can do at this point. Now he's taking some return fire. He's trying to land some more shots, but he's unable to. Ah, that's a shame, Oddball. That's even worse then. Because when you would fly over, it looked like that most of the guys knew how to... Okay. This is just a very slow game. Rizbo now trying to get away. No smokes. He's just running for it. At this point, if I were him, I would just book it out of here. Yeah, he's throwing the smokes way too late. Takes 2 shots. Gets pinned, and he goes down. Meanwhile, it looks like Bluck was found and eliminated. Got caught in a standoff here. Knocked one guy out before he was killed off somewhere back here. Now you got the rest of OPFOR coming around, but they're getting engaged. We're in the last 30 minutes and counting. Yeah, and again, OPFOR, they were just starting to maneuver forces around till Rizbo slowed them down, but they still need to maneuver their remaining forces here. The 70-minute marker would be 1 hour and 18 minutes. This should have already been cashed out at the 50-minute marker, but I didn't see any prompt come up for it. I saw something come up for the 40-minute, but I didn't see anything come up for the 50-minute unless I missed it. But we'll see if something comes up in 5 minutes for that, which means there's 20 minutes remaining for this objective. And it's just going to go into... This had a lot of maneuvering in it, but not much else. So Southern OPFOR group is down to 3 personnel. Let's see what they started with. I think they had more than 5. I think it was 6, but... Northern group, meanwhile, looks like licking their wounds and just staying defensively here as the Northern Blue 4 group's now folded into the objective itself. Points-wise, this means Blue 4 is going to have 5 points on the board. They're trying to get their side leader in, which I think was Flip for Flap. Is he still alive? I thought I saw him. I don't see him. So the side leader's dead. No, he's not. He's on the bottom of the roster, and he's in the AO. Okay, cool. Because I'm like, I could have sworn I just saw his name, or at least command, come up. But as long as he stays in there, that's a bonus point. So that means Blue 4 is going to get 6 points, Op 4 is going to get 3 points. And then the question becomes, did Green 4 get enough for those 6 points? So I'm going to quickly go over and look at what Wombat sent me. So all platoon leaders were alive at the 40-minute mark for when things started. It said that it was failed, but all 4 of those guys were still alive. Both marksmen killed at the 70-minute mark. Is Settler still alive? I think Settler survived. And we are past that 70 minutes, so they didn't get that. Both side leaders alive at the 70-minute marker, I think has also been achieved. Because Depso's still alive, so that's 2 points for Green 4. They need to get 7 to win then, at this point. All platoon leaders killed at the 80-minute mark, and both side leaders killed at the 90-minute mark. I don't think they're going to get that. So they have to rely on a difference in Blue 4 or Op 4 forces being 10 or less to get a maximum amount. That's another 3 points on the board, but even then, I think Green 4 can only potentially get 4 or 5 points. So I think Blue 4, as long as the leader doesn't get killed off of that zone, are going to win. But it would really help if they grabbed their guys and maneuvered everyone down there. So I'm just going to chalk this up to, I don't think some of the triggers are properly firing for this AO, but, oop. Don't know why that just came up. But I will do, because we're almost at the 70-minute mark. It's 3 minutes away, but we might see more things get cashed out. But where's Settler right now? He's still around here, but, I mean, Green 4 marksmen aren't really going to be able to get any angles on him. I don't see Green 4 getting anywhere to potentially engage more forces here, and I don't know what the personnel difference is at the moment. We're going to have to calculate that at the end at this point. Green 4 are meant to be CIA operatives, and they're their own faction as well, with their own set objectives that are hidden from the public. We know about them, though, because of someone told me in the Spectator interface, but yeah, I mean, it's... I think Blue 4 have realized that that position's done with, so they're just moving things out, but they had control of it at the 50-minute mark. Another 2 minute and 15, we'll see this one get cashed out. Samuel gets knocked out. Kyle, I think, was firing at the windows up here. Trying to catch Kyle out in the open, but Toxic unable to line up that shot. Samuel wakes back up. Looks like we do have some Blue 4 pushing Op 4, but Op 4 now starting to run around. 5 seconds before we should start seeing some things cashed in. 20 minutes left. All right, big list. So the base... Yeah, after 50 minutes, it's being cashed in at the 70, so that should be a pass for Blue 4. Both side leaders alive, completed by the guerrillas, but the marksmen were not killed. One of them, ironically, was, but... Alright. So yeah, the 50-minute was cashed out at the 70-minute mark for some weird reason. So that one, I think, just bugged out. So Blue 4 should have 2 points. Op 4 have 3 points. Green 4 right now have 2 points. And if Op 4 is unable to get into here, Blue 4 should have 6 points by the end of this because their side leader's in here, and then the objective itself is worth 3 additional, and having the side leader in there is worth 1 more. So the question then becomes, can Green 4 kill off enough of one side to get an additional 3 points? And then can they get 1 or 2 more points worth of objectives, which is going to involve somehow killing off both sides' platoon leaders and side leaders. Which for Op4 would be Zixme, Depso, and who has the other L in their position here? That would be Pegard. And then for Blue 4, that would be for the faction leader, that would be Flip. And then the 2 other platoon leads would be... Okay, so Fonz is dead. But you still have Alphas, which... I can't even find at the moment. Is it Samuel? He doesn't have a Shemeg on, so he took that off, but he does have the radio and the marksman, so I think he is that. Because otherwise he would have his helmet on. Yeah, so... Green 4 have to kill all of them, though, and it's interesting because they're able to track them on the map, but... I don't think we're going to see much. So Little Bird now getting mounted here. Might try to pick people up and then move over to the town and drop people off. Wombat catches Alexander turning the corner, but is unable to get the kill. Follow-on grenade goes in. That's a good call, but Alexander is trying to immediately bank it back to the objective here. And Op4, we have another squad that has come in. I'd have to imagine that was a vehicle dropping them off, but we still have a +3 in there. I'm not sure if they can steal the helicopter and use that to move people in, but we've got more Op4 reinforcements slowly coming in. So what happens if Op4 takes this position? Then Op4 will have a potential to get 7 points. The side leader will die, so that gives Green 4 the potential to get a few more points, but it would make it harder for Green 4 to win if they were to take that position. But based off of the fact that Blue 4 has so many forces on foot outside of the AO, and there's only about 15 minutes remaining, I don't think Blue 4 is gonna... They've got some vehicles they're mounting up, and they could bring them back in, but... we could still see the tide turn here. Blue 4 could bring reinforcements in, but there's still room for Op4 to get onto rooftops and just start picking people off. Oh, if he could get that GL a little more to the left, he could have gotten a double kill. Let's see if he follows up. He does not. He immediately runs down because staying on that open rooftop would have killed him. So OFCRA have a script where if you go to the base of a building's door and they have a rooftop access door, you can then basically get on top of the building, which is really cool. You see that Blue 4 now get into various buildings here, but some of Op4 spotting them and immediately taking them out. Shay gets headshotted by Sam. Misano throwing a grenade, but it bounces off. Oh, that would have had Sam dead to rights. I'm not sure if he even saw it bounce across, though. Now you have Blue 4 trying to pick off the drivers in the vehicle here, but he just can't seem to line the shot up to get a headshot here, and now we've got another Op4 group coming in. Blue 4 getting overwhelmed on this spot. They have received some reinforcements, but Op4's main convoy is about to come in. CIA are going to be behind them. We have the Little Bird also dropping things off. So we'll see the CIA guys get on the ridge and potentially try to pick off more guys, but they're going to have to pick a side to just start picking off. They could pick Op4, because it is in their best interest to let Blue 4 win this final zone because they got 2 points out of the other one. Or they might think that because technically Blue 4 didn't get the points out of the radio mast, even though they should be credited with them because it cashed out at the 70-minute mark instead of the 50-minute mark, even though it said it would be cashed out at the 50-minute mark. But I digress. Still have Bang Sungkon on that position. But we have about 14 minutes of game time left. So can that garrison here hold for 14 minutes? Because Blue 4 are doing a great job of holding the south. All Blue 4 has to worry about is the north, where you have a massive line of forces come in. But at this point, Blue 4 is going to be doing a big chunk of the job for the Green 4 elements by potentially creating a massive number advantage. So I'm still on the bed here of... Great noob 2 by Alexander right there, but I'm still in the mindset that I don't think Green 4 is going to win. I think it's going to be close. But unless they can somehow snipe Flip for Flap and deny Blue 4 that 1 point, so that only Blue 4 has 5 points, maybe Green 4 could tie. And in the event of any ties, I have to avoid the prediction. Another Op 4 member taken out in the low ground there. NASA has found Banks, might try to work on him, but he risks getting headshotted by some of the Blue 4 elements here, so it looks like he's going to pick him up and move him. We do have Eric on the rear here. He could start getting up on some of these buildings, engaging people on the rear, but it's risky to be alone. Otherwise, Green 4 starting to drive some forces in here could sow some discord on Op 4's lines, and then the marksmen are starting to come up. Majority of Blue 4's forces starting to finally mount up in some vehicles, but 13 minutes remaining. By the time they get in here, it's only going to be, I want to say, 10 to 5 minutes. They do have the low ground, so if they charge in immediately, they could get in here within a minute or two, but then dismounting, moving in, and actually starting to engage, it's going to be a bit of an ordeal. Flip for Flap just biding his time. Honestly, this is one of the most secure positions he can be in, and he still has a nice little murder hole there to stop anyone that goes into that one particular angle. Do like this little opening in the Hesco, I think that Mr. White's trying to use to be able to see his enemy. But as soon as he poked his head off, it got taken clean off. Alexander, meanwhile, doing a bit of bandaging. It's just there's so much Op 4 elements coming in now. But we could see Green 4 come in. We got that suppressed SA-58. He could find Depso and take him out. That would deny even if Op 4 took that position. That would mean Op 4 could only at most score 6 points. And that is an objective for Green 4 to kill the side commanders. Alexander, meanwhile, poking his head out. Oh, if only he had some grenades. He tries to run out here. Abe, though, doesn't realize that he only knocked him out. He thought he got the kill. Oh my god, and Alexander gets the headshot. Will that grenade knock him out, though? Oh, it rolls over to the next block. Takes the PKP. Very smart call to grab that. It only has to have maybe 30 or 40 bullets left. He's trying to last stand this. That was a great play. He goes prone right here. He's really relying on Op 4 not pushing that position. He's going to have to stabilize his leg. He's got to check that corpse and grab more ammo, though. Gets another headshot. Pre-fires the corner to go around. Gets another double kill. Holy shit, Alexander is channeling the inner Audrey Hotto. He goes upstairs. I don't know what spare ammo he might have grabbed in the meantime. Maybe he switched back. He could have switched backpacks and grabbed more ammo out of the pack. Great call to take the door and get on the rooftop to do some additional medical. Op 4, meanwhile, pushing this area. Looks like Flip for Flap has died. So So that is a side commander down. If Kremit gets the kill on Depso, though, that means Green 4 is going to get another point. And there goes Depso. So Green 4 have secured another point. Satchel charges went off. It destroyed a majority of that Blue 4 garrison. So at most, though, Op 4 is going to take this position, get tied up for 6 points. Green 4, though, I think at this point, with both side leaders being dead and being alive at a certain point, Green 4 have guaranteed 2 points. Natha's going to get hurt by that nade. And then we could have 3 additional points for Green 4, depending on how much of a numbers difference there is, because a lot of Blue 4 haven't really been fielded, which is why we have Op 4 harassing this area. Alexander looks like he got taken out finally on the rooftop. Damn. But we could very well see a 10-player difference between Op 4 and Blue 4 if the Green 4 keeps harassing and eliminating who they can. But funny enough, Green 4 need to stop shooting at the Blue 4 elements. They need to be focusing on Op 4 instead. They need to pick a faction to bully at this point. So I think for the remaining points, it's going to really rely on Kremit and Natha in the AO to kill as much as they can. But unfortunately, some Op 4 are starting to wise up to them. And take them out. I think that's a disconnected Op 4 player. They just have an AI running around to be a placeholder for him. So now it's gonna be up to Kremit. We got a few marksmen on the southern side, but they're just harassing the remaining 2 Blue 4 in the AO. And Op 4 have taken over the final position. 7 minutes remaining. The question becomes, is there enough of a number difference for Blue 4 to have on Op 4 for them to get more points? And I think that'll get them up to 5 points, having those 3 additional ones, but Op 4 taking this position, that's 3 plus another 3, that would be 6. And I don't think there's anything left Op 4 can, or Green 4 can really score with by allowing Op 4 to have that position. The only way Op 4 could, or excuse me, Green 4 could win, I think, would be to actually prevent anyone from being in that zone. I don't see that happening. Got Gregory up back here. He's on rooftops. He's trying to get down, yep. Kremit, though, comes in, and a grenade blows him away as he's able to knock out a few more guys. Interesting that the grenade didn't double tap Artie there. But yeah, SA-58 is only going to have 20-round magazines, so there's not much he can do with that weapon in that CQC-style situation. So I think this is going to be an Op 4 victory, but I will recalculate everything based off of what comes up, because the numbers that come up are going to be wrong, because Blue 4 should at least have 2 points, but they don't, because of how things were calculated. Now you got Blue 4 starting to come in, but 5 minutes to get from here to that zone. I don't see it happening. And you still have Op 4 in various positions here. Green 4, I think, just charging in with the vehicle right now. Well, someone found a suppressed gun. I think Gregory's going to go for the zone because he realizes that that's the only way he's going to be able to get points. He does have that 249. I don't think he's going to win that fight. His rounds were behind Rixu, and Rixu had him first because Gregory tried to sprint around the corner. And I think Green 4's dreams of winning just died with Gregory there. You have a 200-round magazine, you're going for the final objective, pre-fire that damn corner. Pre-fire that damn corner. You can just see all the Blue 4 bodies up here at this point. Green 4 marksman still on the outside, but that's going to be it, and they're taking some return fire. Settler, though, making a push. He is in the final zone, but it is a 1-7 right now, so we need to see 8 Blue 4 players get in. And funny enough, if Blue 4 push another 7 dudes in that zone, we could see Green 4 win. Because that means Blue 4 would get... No, what we would need to see is a tie. 7 or 6 in the zone. But I'll be watching this on the final uptick there. I'm going to trust that the number difference will calculate right. All right, in 1.5 minutes, I'm going to calculate numbers to see what that difference is going to be. That's going to probably change, though, within the past few minutes because people are still going to engage each other. Zai here running around. Settler covering the door. Doesn't have any GLs left because he has a smoke one loaded. But we need to see more Blue 4 enter the zone. If Blue 4 and Op 4 tie out in the zone, Green 4 will win. Points-wise, because there should at least be some sort of numbers difference. Blue 4 have more numbers on Op 4. Then we have some Op 4 guys all the way back here. But all right, I'm gonna do the head count now. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So Blue 4 has 30. Op 4 have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So Green 4 could get 3 points total as long as there remains to be a 10-point number, 10-person number difference. So we could... Green 4 could score 5 points in total, and we see that this zone's been grayed out, which means there's a tie right now. It's 4-4. So if that holds for another 2 minutes, Green 4 actually are going to win this. So we have another minute before I'm going to be staring at the screen. That's crazy, though. If you're Green 4, you're going to be relying on a tie. And with Michael entering, it should turn blue. And with Tymek dying, he only gets knocked out, though. If you're unconscious, you still count for the objective. Now it's blue. Op 4 need to rush more people in, but I think Blue 4 are going to have this zone, so that's going to give Blue 4 5 points. We see another knockout. What are the status of the platoon leaders? So Wombat's dead. And Pegard is still alive, and he's all the way back there. So there's no way that Green 4 is going to be able to kill all the platoon leaders, because one of those leader elements is all the way over here, completely out of Green 4's reach. So they're not going to be able to get any spare points for that. So it could very well end as a tie between Blue 4 and Green 4. But Blue 4 needs to maintain a 10-player number advantage for Green 4 to score that. And there's a few other ways Green 4 can score points as well in the final mark, and we're just going to have to see if they're able to make that. I don't think Blue 4's spaced out close enough for a 1 grenade to win, though. The entire Blue 4 garrison has entered the zone. There's no way. There it is. All right. It didn't even fire. It's trying again. All right. I'm going to tab out because I think that thing broke. We're going to go over the objectives here because they just tapped it out. So here's the deal. points-wise, there were 3 points for capturing Alkiza at the 90-minute mark. That went to Blue 4. There was 1 point for getting your leader inside of that objective within the 90 minutes. That went to no side because both sides lost their commanders. The base at the north at the 70-minute mark was worth 3 points, and then the radio mast was worth 2 points at the 50-minute mark. We had a bug where that 50-minute mark objective fired at the 70-minute mark, so Blue 4 didn't get the points because they realized that they were in there too much. So the final points between Blue 4 and Op 4, Blue 4 would have scored 2 at the radio mast and 3 for the final objective Alkiza. So that's 5 points total. Op 4 would have scored 3 points for the base. Now, calculating the objectives. These are all worth 1 point. They need 5 to tie, 6 to win. So, going off of these. All platoon leaders alive at 40 minutes. Done. They got that point. Both marksmen killed at the 70-minute mark. Did not happen. The Blue 4 marksman survived. Op 4 marksman, I think, got friendly fired or something weird. But that's fine. One of them survived, so no point there. Both side leaders alive at the 70-minute mark. I think also happened. By the time the objectives were fired... No, Wombat was... No, Flip for Flap was the side leader. He was still alive, so that's a point. All platoon leaders killed at 80 minutes didn't happen. Both side leaders killed at the 90-minute mark happened. So, because it was Depso was killed and Flip for Flap died in the garrison. And then equal number of Op 4 and Blue 4 alive at 90 minutes didn't happen. And then there was a difference of plus 10, which we saw. I calculated it out. So that was at the 90-minute mark. And we saw that more Op 4 died in that last second anyway. So there was definitely a point difference. So that is 3 points because it's calculated at 2, 5, and 10. Now, here's the deal. Honest to God, I'm going to wrap up the recording here, but I need to see